of you joining. We had still a couple of hundred registrants, which is fantastic for a very short notice webinar. And I just want to really make sure you hear me. So quick check. Maybe a good question would be, James, can you hear me? Can you see my screen first of all?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, now you see my screen.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So we're assuming that everyone else sees the screen as well. James, I can't see any controls or questions, so I'll leave all that to you. If there's anything you need from me, do let me know. Speak to me. Otherwise, I'm going to start with the presentation. Is that okay?
It's totally fine.
Okay. So, guys, thanks very much for turning up tonight. The last email I sent out to you just 10 minutes ago was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and the email literally said, in case you haven't seen it, normally I talk about me a lot, and today I want to actually talk about some of my students that I'm lucky to work with, because in the end my success is defined very clearly through the success of my students. And I don't know what's happening, but recently a lot of our students become very successful. This is a lot due to, I believe, the screen you see right now, the Expert Success Formula. Our teaching has finally found its way into a formula which seems to be easy to replicate for people, and we finally have something that we can roll out, and people who apply the knowledge from the book get amazing successes. And this is really what this evening is about. I want to share some of the success stories of people who applied just some of that proven three-step formula, and they have become overnight authorities in their respective industries, which in essence gives them more money, more time, and of course more purpose, which is really what we're all after, more reason for getting out of bed in the morning, helping people change their destinies and change their fates. The book is not yet on Amazon, but we officially launched it just a couple of weeks ago to our students and delegates at the Expert Success Live event, which is a regular training event where we literally share with you how to make the most of the Expert Success Formula knowledge. Now, we've been teaching it for, 18 months now in our Platinum groups. We've also been teaching it to our Mastermind students. Just a reminder, these are businesses who invest £12,000 a year with us, and that same formula has been proven and tested and refined until it's now ready to be unleashed to the world. And that's part of today's story. This next screen is a photograph of the underground launch of the book just a couple of weeks ago, actually the 5th of May, a bank holiday weekend, and we still had a booked out room. And you can see here many happy delegates holding up their own copy of the Expert Success Formula, and that is really one of the highlights at the Expert Success Live events, that we give out the book and people actually can start reading and applying that knowledge to their own business, to their own lives. So very simple, what is this webinar about? Is sharing success stories with you, but also enticing you listening tonight to invest a day with us at the Expert Success Formula Live. The next event is the 2nd of June. So it's just a couple of weeks away. Looking at our flip chart, our board up here, we already sold quite a few tickets for the event. About 35 tickets already sold. We're looking for a small group of a few people tonight committing to joining us on that event, and you will be getting a copy of the book at the event, handed over by me and James on the day. But let's go right into why I believe this formula works so well, and what this formula has done for ordinary people like you and me to catapult them into a different level of income, different level of lifestyle, and of course a very different level of purpose in their lives. What you see in front of you is the Expert Wealth Matrix, or the Expert Success Matrix, and this is part of the teachings that make it so clear why the formula that you will be implementing in your life will change your financial destiny. Now, at the bottom of this matrix, and let's be very clear, let me just step back 1 minute and explain to you what we're building here. This is a representation of literally any industry, any market, any niche. On the left-hand side, that blue kind of triangle you see is a representation of distribution of people. And what it represents is that most people in any market or industry, let's say you're an expert in property finance, you know a little bit about that, or you know quite a lot about that, or you know really almost everything there is to know about it. And the distribution of people is very simple. Most people know little about a subject, a good amount of people know a little bit, and there's a few people who are true experts, true go-to guys in the industry. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, we have a green triangle, and the green triangle looks at the distribution of money. And you can see very clearly here that it's a very unfair way that the world is distributing money. So it looks like that a few people on the top are getting all the money, while most of the people at the bottom are struggling and fighting for scraps. Now, I'm sure you can relate, and you have observed that that literally happens in any industry, be it in NLP practitioners, where Tony Robbins and Paul McKenna make all the money while thousands of others are struggling to survive. It's the same in the music industry. It's the same in the property industry. It's the same in any markets, be it celebrity chefs or chefs. There's always a few people who make all the money while most are struggling to survive. But the really interesting part of that graphic, I'm sure I haven't told you much new at this stage, but if you look at the bottom cross here that I literally draw onto the screen here, you can see a couple of arrows. The arrow on the left, the big red arrow on the left, this is the amount of people that you will be competing with if you are at the bottom, because all these people have the same knowledge, the same positioning, and of course you are directly competing with them. The arrow pointing down at the bottom here, the short arrow pointing down, this is the few people that is your possible audience. And the little arrow pointing to the right, that's the little bit of money that has to be distributed amongst all the people at your level. Let's look at the level on the top, where we have a tiny arrow pointing to the left. That's the competition. Very few people, if you're a top authority, are competing with you. We got a massive arrow pointing downwards, which is reflecting the audience size, the amount of people you can teach or sell to. And of course, the arrow to the right is the massive amount of money available distributed amongst just a few of you at that level. Now this is obvious, and I'm sure you're all at home right now either drawing that matrix quickly into your scrapbooks, taking screenshots, or just really understanding what I'm saying. But what I am really about with the book I've written and with the knowledge we're teaching, that between cross number 1 at the bottom, where you're fighting for survival, and cross number 2 at the top, there is some magic we can do to quickly position you and move you upwards towards the top. I call it perceived authority, perceived expertise, and we have a formula which literally positions you right there. Now before I take any more, let me just take you right to the formula. The formula is quite simple. I have observed that in every market, any niche, the people who make all the money have a combination of 3 things in place. They have a strong personal brand, and that means an online presence which represents what they are, who they are, what they're about. They also have multiple products and services for sale, many of them automated for sale, and they have got an audience they can talk to, which is a buying audience. These are people who have the ability and the inclination to buy what you got to sell. And of course, the heart in the center of this graphic represents that it has to be driven by some kind of belief and passion and love of what you do. And I've observed in any market, any industry, that the people at the top have got strong positioning, products and services, multiples, many of them sold automated or via online channels, and number 3, have a big audience they can talk to. That is really the expert success formula in a nutshell. Now there's lots of detail to it. The book's 330 pages with over 600 little points that you can actually do to take action to help you move up that expert success matrix. Move up and get paid more, have more time, because you're just the authority. But let me quickly check, who is this for? You might be listening right now and say, you know what, I'm not an expert. I have never been called an expert by nobody. And actually the irony is, and the book states that clearly, that expert status, if you haven't taken any notes by the way up to now is a good moment to get your pen out. I'm getting my own pen out. Big white paper, and write down, expert positioning is not awarded. It is claimed. What do I mean by that? Nobody's going to walk up to you and say, you know what, you're an expert, well done, now you get paid more. But it's you who has to claim that position, who has to write your own badge and put it on your jumper, on your jacket, and literally go out there and say, you know what, I am an expert. It's actually very, very fascinating and very endearing for me to see that Vanish Patel is on the call tonight. It is Vanish who actually shared that concept with me first 7 years ago at the Property Networking Club. Because Vanish was the first guy I know who actually started to help people in the property market by making them experts in specific areas. Experts in finance, expert in sourcing properties, expert in renovation, and that word expert has